Good morning, guys. It is Monday, May 8th, 2023, and it has been over a month since I have posted. My last post was on March 23rd, so it has been a while. Partially, it is because of the title of this video. I did hire the wrong manager. The other was I was doing some traveling, so I did leave for about a week for a little trip with my girlfriend, which was very pleasant. But yeah, a large portion of it was I hired the wrong person that created a big problem for me. And I will get to the subject of that in just a minute. Let's talk about the market real quick. Dow is slightly up, about 84 points right now in the pre-market. It is 7:10 a.m. right now. I'm actually kind of behind schedule, so I got to start picking up the pace. Gold, my favorite indicator, is above 2,000. And like I've said before, whenever gold is above 2,000, you should be very wary. Something bad is probably in the market. It could, at this point, I've stopped treating it as prognosis. If you look at all my other videos, I treat gold as a prognosis. Like if gold is above 2,000, something bad is coming. At this point, I'm almost treating it like a temperature. If gold is above 2,000, that means the market isn't healthy. I know that's a bit convenient, but it's just that gold always has been an indicator. Gold always has been an indicator of major crashes, major issues. If you look at my previous videos, I talk about the 2008 financial crisis. I talk about the lead up to the 2008 financial crisis, during COVID, during lockdown. Everything that gold did signaled something bad was happening. So at this point, I'm treating it kind of like, okay, it's a temperature. The temperature is above $2,000 an ounce. That means something bad is in the market. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a major crash right now, but it does mean that the market is not performing at the top of where it should be. So yes, gold is above 2,000 currently. It is at 2,032. So definitely not terrible, but definitely could be much better. Bitcoin is also been interesting because in the month I've been gone, Bitcoin's been going up. It is down today at about 27,000, 27,800 right now. As you know, I'm not a crypto guy, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. In the time I've been gone, an entire financial crisis has happened again, with First National Security Bank shutting down as well. So that's the second bank failure in as many months. That's a bit scary, and no one is really talking about that. That's a bit interesting, seeing as how these were bigger failures combined than Lehman Brothers, and nobody seems to care. Nobody's talking about it. The news isn't talking about it. People aren't concerned. In other news, I know personally people that are in the banking industry, and the banking industry is not doing good. There are massive layoffs going on right now. So we saw tech last year. We saw, and now we are seeing finance this year. I know several people that have, one of which has been laid off themselves. The other is very concerned for their job because they're seeing entire departments getting laid off. So this is very interesting. I mean, it's very concerning, but it's interesting that it seems to be going industry by industry. We had tech, and now we're having finance, and we're having entire bank failures in addition. So it's not like these banks that are failing are laying off people. Quite the opposite. Banks you've heard of, banks that are big names, are laying people off, laying off entire departments. And here's the interesting thing. I was talking to someone at a major bank. I'm not going to say the bank name. I'm not going to say who this individual was. This is a big bank. This is one of the big ones. This is probably the top five. This is one of the top five banks in the country. What's interesting is they said that they were laying off their sales department, which I still can't wrap my head around. Maybe you guys can explain it to me better. It would seem to me that if the company is not performing well, you would not be laying off your sales department first. You would be laying off your sales department last. Quite the opposite. If you're seeing issues with credit, if you're seeing problems with people applying for new loans because of high interest rates, you would keep your sales department first and start laying off your underwriters, your day-to-day tellers, things like that. Because even though those can cause backlogs, they can still get the job done. Whereas if you're laying off your sales department, that means that you're not going to get any new income coming in. And usually sales are kind of treated a bit as the special kid. In most of these banks, they get very special treatment. They get the biggest bonuses. So it's very strange that they're laying off the sales departments first, because that just doesn't happen. And I don't understand why it's happening even now. You want more money coming in, you want more people coming in. Why would you lay off the people that are bringing revenue into the company, yet keeping people that are costing you money? Yes, obviously, underwriters serve an important role. Everyone at a bank will serve an important role, but you can backlog the system. You could have one person do the job of two, save money there, but not compromise your sales department. So that's very strange to me. I still can't wrap my head around that. If someone can explain why that could be a reason, I'd love to hear it, because in my mind, it doesn't make any sense. So that's pretty much all that I want to talk about what's going on in the market. Oil is down, which is good, because if you watch my earlier videos, if you talk to anyone, everybody was expecting oil to go up towards the summer, because more travel, more flights, more everything, more consumption. Usually consumption will increase during the summer months. People like traveling, spending, things like that. Oil has not gone up, and that's actually a fantastic sign. There is another bank that's in the news, Regional Bank, which is another small bank, has cut its dividend. It isn't a huge drop. It's only just like a 10-cent reduction in the dividend, but still, something to talk about, something to think about. There is other news with Apple, Amazon, Berkshire. Coinbase has some information, but I have very limited time this morning, so I'm just going to get straight to what had happened. So, like I said, the title of the video is I Hired the Wrong Manager, which is exactly what happened. So for a while, I have been looking for a manager, someone that could take over day-to-day operations of the office, so that I could focus on expanding the business itself, more of a sales role for myself. Again, I wouldn't fire sales first. And we found a person, it's not my own decision. We found a person that we thought would be very good. They came with 25 years of experience across multiple offices, claiming that they can do the job that we wanted. They were professional, they were courteous. We went through 2 rounds of interviews, we verified their references. We thought, well, this is perfect. This person is going to be great. We bring them in, and we introduce it to the staff. Everybody's a little reluctant, because up until this point, I have been the de facto manager of the offices. Even though I'm not in every office, it is just the assumption that even though I'm owner, I am the de facto manager. They come to me with problems. They come to me with issues. And it was the goal of unloading it from myself onto this person, and they did not like that. They wanted me, they liked me, they know me. All of a sudden, who's this new person coming in? So that I anticipated. But more or less from day one, conflicts began. And this person was not good at dealing with conflicts, which is a bit surprising given the fact that that was one of the issues we vetted them on, one of the things we talked about of how are you managing staff. They were terrible at managing staff. Bickering and fighting broke out in the office. Everybody was very unhappy with the new atmosphere. It was turning very toxic. But I was kind of closing my eyes for the first couple of weeks, because this is as expected, right? There's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be people that don't get along. That you can't help. So I figured time will go by. People will become more adapted. It's not going to be a big deal. Then, on my trip, actually, I get notifications, and my service was spotty, that one of the staff members had requested off, and the manager said, I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to say no, and I'm in fact going to do a formal write-up because their performance hasn't been up to par, and I'm going to have a meeting with your business partner. They were, since I wasn't there, they wanted to have a formal meeting with our business partner there and give a formal write-up. I thought that was a little strange for someone just asking for time off, especially since they weren't feeling well. So what had happened is they had come into work. This person has issues health-wise. They weren't feeling great. They had already worked half the day. We're just asking if they can go home for the afternoon. This new manager said no, which again, not being there, not knowing the full story, it could be that it was legitimate that they were denying this person's request. I don't know. I do know this individual, and I do know they get sick from time to time because of their health conditions, and usually when they do, it is legitimate. So I do usually allow this person to leave. Now, new leadership means new rules, so I was fine with that. What I was a little surprised about was that they were going to be giving this individual a full write-up and having the escalation where it's a meeting and saying things like, if this happens again 2 more times in a row, we're going to let you go. Especially since this employee is more or less a little rock star. They do their job well. They do have issues with their health, with attendance, with these little minor issues. But for the most part, they show up, they do their job, they perform well at it, and they meet goals. So to say that you either do this or you get fired is a little bit weird. What's also stranger is then the next day, another employee had an issue and requested time off. And this new manager just said, yeah, okay, go ahead, no worries. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You either have rules for everybody or you have no rules for no one. We are not going to have an office where there's preferential treatment towards one individual and a biased treatment towards another. And that's when I pulled this manager in and I said, if you're going to be doing this, you have to be doing it across the board. If you have a zero tolerance policy for attendance, then you better make sure it's instituted across the board. They agreed. Okay. A few weeks go by, another person requests time off, and they do the same thing where they just say, no, oh, okay, sure, no problem. And again, I had to pull this manager in and say, okay, you set certain rules of, zero tolerance policies on attendance. And again, you're not living up to your own rules. You have to call this person in and sit them down the same way you did that first person, simply because you cannot have differential rules for different people. That was just the beginning of it. There were other conflicts with the staff. The biggest thing was that every little thing that was happening, I was getting pulled into and I had to solve their problems as if I had never left. So at this point, I was doing twice the work because I was getting stuff secondhand and I had to clean up this person's messes. Instead of solving the problem, they were just relaying it to me, essentially being a messenger service, and I was paying them a very high managerial wage and just having to go in and solve a problem that they created. They didn't learn any of the softwares they said that they could handle. I sent them tutorials before they started on how to learn the software, just the basics, what to do, how to do it. A month goes by, they are not any more skilled with the software than they were on day one. And the biggest factor was I set goals for them, metrics on performance, on what they should and shouldn't do as far as our production and our collection numbers. Long story short, after this person being there for a full month, our numbers were worse with them than the previous month when they weren't there. Given all that, I had no choice but to let this person go. This manager had to go. Their numbers were abysmal. Our production dropped. Our collections dropped substantially. We were down almost 10% for the month on all our metrics. On top of these conflicts, on top of the fact that this manager is not doing what they said they were going to do and run day-to-day operations, they're just relaying all the tasks to me to run day-to-day operations. And so I got rid of this person. And that's kind of the moral of this video, is just be very careful with who you hire. Hire slowly, fire quickly. I am very happy with the decision to fire. We're about 2 weeks out from that now, and it is still concrete, 100% best decision I've made in a long time. And just keep an eye on the people you hire and the people you trust, because this person didn't do anything malicious, but their incompetence did cause an immense amount of damage for the short time that they were there. That's kind of it as far as the video goes. I've got to get going. I'm already late to work, but I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. I'm getting back into the swing of things. So I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you set amazing goals. I hope you meet those goals, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.